All over the country, people are deciding to ride trains again. They're looking for ways to get out of their cars, trucks, and vans. And riding the train reduces our dependence on foreign oil. It reduces emissions of bad stuff into the air. It reduces the threat of global warming. It reduces congestion on our highways. And a lot of people are taking that up. We saw record growth in Amtrak ridership the fiscal year that just ended yesterday. Record growth in Amtrak revenues. Well, more than most cities and states, Amtrak depends on passenger rail. Amtrak is the 11th busiest train station in America. There are over 500 train stations, so one of the very top train stations. And we take full advantage of the 90-some trains that go through our city, through our state every single day. We also have a lot of people who live in Amtrak, who work for Amtrak, who repair the cars, repair the engines, provide onboard service. Amtrak is part of our economic lifeblood. It will continue to provide jobs, good-paying jobs for people who fix the trains, repair the trains, work on the trains, and will provide excellent opportunities for transportation for people up and down the Northeast Corridor, too. There was a terrible train accident out in California a month or so ago. 25 people died. A commuter train ran into a freight train. The commuter train ran a red light. And with the kind of safety systems that are required in this legislation starting in 2015, that's not going to happen again. We'll have the safety procedures in place. Currently, people who can work on the trains can work as much as like 400 hours per month. That's a huge number of hours. We dropped that by almost a full third to provide a more reasonable level so that people have a chance to get some crew rest. Over half the people in our country now live within 50 miles of one of our coasts. As a result, there are a number of densely populated corridors up and down the East Coast, the Gulf Coast, and the West Coast where a lot of people live and are looking for opportunities to get out of their cars, trucks, and vans and find another way to get to work or to shop or to visit their loved ones. It's not enough for us just to try to improve train service in the Northeast Corridor. That's important, though. But there are other densely populated corridors where if states had a little bit of incentive, a little bit of federal money to go with their state money and their money contributions from freight railroads, we could dramatically improve passenger rail service in a number of densely populated corridors up and down the East Coast, the Gulf Coast, and the West Coast. Again, for our state, we have a whole lot of people who ride the train. The 11th busiest train station in America is Wilmington. We have probably more people on a per capita basis who work for Amtrak, fixing locomotives, fixing rail cars, serving onboard personnel. So Delaware has a large stake in what's going on here. As a former member of the House of Representatives, as a governor, as a former Amtrak board member, and for 7 or 8 years now in the United States Senate, I fought almost every day to try to provide excellent train service, not just in the Northeast Corridor, not just for Delaware, but in all kinds of places around the country where there are these densely populated corridors, where there are highways that are crowded with a lot of congestion, where we have too many airplanes in the air, where Amtrak can be part of the solution. And it's important for our country. It's important for us in Delaware, but this is important for our country. Amtrak was created in the early 1970s. Almost from its beginning, Amtrak has been starved for capital investment to improve track bed, improve overhead wiring system, improve signaling systems, improve the actual trains themselves, starved for capital. This legislation represents a significant shift in funding, less for daily operating costs and much more capital investments. And capital investments in which we're asking states to join us, local governments to join us, and also the freight railroads around this country.